Will you still love me when I'm 64? Well, that's what Theatre Calgary asks in their newest production of As You Like It. A production where the timeless worlds of Shakespeare seamlessly intertwine with the melodies of the Beatles. Set in the groovy 1960s Forest of Arden, As You Like It takes us on a journey through the classic comedy of love, mistaken identity, and the magic of both the Elizabethan playwright and the legendary Fab Four. This unique adaptation, adapted and directed by Daryl Cloran Bard on the Beach Shakespeare Festival, not only breathes new life into Shakespeare's work, but also adds an extra layer of musical enchantment with the melodies that shaped a generation. Ben Elliott is the music director and music supervisor for this production, and he joins me in the studio to chat. Hello, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Kate.
I just want to hear your journey with this production. How did you become involved as music director for As You Like It?
Yeah, so I was an actor at Bard on the Beach, fresh out of theater school, and I had already musical directed a couple shows there just because people knew that I was a musical kind of guy, musical actor and stuff in the theater industry. And so Daryl Cloran, who adapted the show in... Oh, man. Well, he adapted the show, but we collaborated on A Love's Labour's Lost, a Cole Porter kind of adaptation, and that did really well for Bard. So then the artistic director of Bard on the Beach, Christopher Gaze, approached Daryl Cloran and said, how would you like to do a show with the Beatles? And so Daryl, he came up with the idea of the As You Like It, knowing that it adapted really well with the Beatles and all that stuff. And so since we already had a working relationship at Bard and it had gone well, he invited me to musical direct, musical supervise. And that was in 2018. And then we took it to Winnipeg and Edmonton. There's a co-pro between RMTC and the Citadel. And then we took it to Chicago Shakespeare. And so in Winnipeg, Edmonton, Chicago, Milwaukee. And then when we took it to Washington, or first we did Bard last summer, Bard on the Beach again, brought it home, and then did it again at the Shakespeare Company in STC, Shakespeare Theatre Company, that's it, in Washington, D.C., and here I am in Calgary.
And now here you are. I want to talk about combining the music of the Beatles with the works of Shakespeare. It's pretty unique when it comes to concept. How do you approach blending these two artistic worlds?
Well, first and foremost, Daryl's, he came up with the set list, as it were. He went through the whole Beatles catalog and found which songs worked with the show. What's great about As You Like It, it's probably the most lyrical of the Shakespeare shows. There's already lots of songs in it and lots of opportunities for characters to sing because it's already in the concept of the play. And on top of that, for some reason, it seems that the Beatles' subject matter in some of their songs also apply quite well to the subject matter of the play. Young love, and then philosophical concepts like existence and existential anguish and stuff like that. So from my perspective, I wanted to honor the tunes as best as I could. I didn't want to put anything extra on it. Wanted to serve them up pure and highlight the story of the music. The arrangement, like the original Beatles arrangements, are so rich. One of the fun challenges was we didn't have somebody who could play a recorder, or we didn't have strings. We just had incredible actors that could also play instruments. And so I had to reorchestrate and reassign melody lines to different instruments. Ultimately, I didn't want to distract from the story being told or from the Beatles music itself.
Now, you are here in Calgary, and a couple new cast members are joining the Theatre Calgary run. How did you bring them up to speed on the music so quickly?
It helps that everybody knows the Beatles. So the first step is, hey, listen to this set list. Listen to all these Beatles tunes. Get familiar with them. And then, for example, Anton Lipovetsky, he's playing Sylvius, and he's the keyboard player, so he's taking over from what I did in Washington. And he's a remarkable musician, got great feel and great instincts. So what I did was filmed myself playing the tunes, bird's eye view on the piano, sent them to him, and he prepped really well, and he knows them, and we move from there. That's like the starting point. Because it's also important that the musicians can own what they're playing and feel like they have some license. It's a lot of like sending instrumental tracks that they can sing along to. And then when we get in the room, we have to find the right key. Because the Beatles, these are baritones or tenors. And sometimes it doesn't work. It's like right on the break for like an alto or a soprano. And it also makes super challenging decisions for example, when I'm 64, finding the right key for a male and a female voice, neither person's really going to be happy. Either the alto's in the basement and the tenor's in the attic, or so there's all that fun negotiation too in the room.
The Beatles' music is really iconic. How did you approach the musical arrangements and collaborations with the cast to bring a fresh perspective on these well-known songs?
It was important that we honored the character of the songs. There was no reconceptualizing actually any of the tunes or darkening them or lightening them. The first goal was just let's play the tune. Let's play it. Let's honor the way that it was recorded. And then based on where it's placed in the show, organically, we would come up with different certain feels or there's so much you can do with dynamics to create tension. And we've also had to, shorten a verse just because they're pop songs. So you can only tell so much of a story when you repeat, a chorus 4 times. I think there was a certain amount of humbleness that I came to it with. I was like, we're not rearranging. We are completely just offering them up honestly. And that's part of the magic is that it feels like these songs were somewhat bespoke for As You Like It, or As You Like It, like Shakespeare and the Beatles were kind of collaborating together. Because one of the comments we get back is that felt like it was meant to be there. And part of that is we're telling the story through the songs. It's not like your jukebox musical where action happens, and we stop, we play a song. Well, it was nice, and then we go back. Not to say that doesn't happen, because there's some sweet tunes that we just want to get out there, and we can justify it. But most of the time, the characters are changing through the song. They're using the song to figure something out or to express something to somebody or to the audience.
The question I think that is on my mind and our listeners as well is, do you have a favorite Beatles song?
I'll listen to the originals to get back up to speed, but mostly I'm listening to what the individuals are doing, what our performers are doing. And in rehearsal, when we did our first run through, their Let It Be was incredible. And I know Let It Be. Everyone's like, oh, Let It Be, right? Because we hear it a lot, or it's used. It's kind of like Hallelujah, but there's a reason. There's a reason why we listen to it all the time. So it's I'd have to say Let It Be.
Thanks so much for sitting down with me today, Ben.
Hey, right on. Thanks for having me, Kate.